I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, we are going to be talking about a lot of light because today there is a full moon at 22 degrees of Aquarius. And that's why if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is A Bright Light Among the Dark. And that is because it is a very bright light to have a full moon, and Aquarius is a sign that rules the future. It rules anything that goes through the air. It's a fixed air sign. It's the only planet in an air sign today, but it's a powerful one. And it rules aviation, space, invention, music, because that goes through the air. It rules all electronics, the internet, the computers, and it rules things that are ahead of its time. And it rules eccentricity and freedom and rebellion as well. And Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian. An Aquarian always will pretty much side with the underdog in order to make sure that both sides of any discussion are represented. And so they can favor all kinds of things. And since Aquarius rules invention, that's why it's helpful that it's a fixed sign, because inventors can get a bright idea, but it might take a lot of tinkering before something really works. And that's why an Aquarian is noted for sticking with things. You wouldn't think that a very creative sign that is known for sudden surprising change could also be fixed, but that's what eventually leads to great success for an Aquarian. They don't give up any more than any other fixed sign does. But the reason why there can be a bright light among the dark is because there is a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. And since Aquarius is a fixed sign, that full moon is under severe duress today. And that's because the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Leo are all opposing the full moon, and Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, and the ruler of Aquarius is squaring the full moon in Aquarius. So there can be severe challenges surrounding perhaps your future or other people's future, or any new ideas that are coming up right now. There can be a lot of challenges to that. And that's why you need to be hopeful now. And whatever you do, you need to sort of keep the bright light shining for your future plans, despite any challenges that you may be facing right now. One of the challenges that could be apparent in the world is that there can be people that are people with very large egos that can be used to having a lot of power and control over others, and they would like to keep that up. In fact, they are rather desperate to hang on to their power right now. That's the influence of Mars. The desperation is the influence of Mars in Leo, along with Venus and the Sun and Mercury. And so in opposition to this full moon in Aquarius, it means that people in power simply want to put the future on hold. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They're desperate to maintain the status quo because that's what they've always done. So there's a clash of ideals going on right there. And the reason why they can be so desperate is that there's a lot of money at stake. And that is because that Uranus in Taurus is squaring the 4 planets in Leo, and Taurus is a fixed financial sign ruling how you make your money and what you spend it on. And it in particular rules investments. It also rules the countries of Germany and of Israel. And so there's a lot of money at stake, and it can be that they are not willing to welcome any new creative ideas right now, or anything that has to do with someone else's future. And that's why the challenges persist. That's why there are dark forces surrounding the bright light of this new full moon. But actually, nothing's going to stop it, because Aquarius is just as fixed as any other fixed sign. So that means that this is a very good time for you to keep that hope for a better future alive within you. In fact, we should all do that. And the reason why is that the sun comes up every day in a new place. It always happens. It's an act of nature. And that means that there are always going to be new beginnings. I mean, they may not come one right after the other, but they're going to come anyway. And so those power players that are desperate to hang on to their power are living in the past. And so I hope that isn't you, because the future is always there. So I want to urge you to hang on to your vision. Aquarius is a very visionary sign, remember, because it's such an inventive sign. And hang on to your dreams, because the only way to escape the dark is to follow the light. And that would be the light of hope in your heart about a better tomorrow. So hang on to that, because that way, if you follow the light, your better tomorrow can still make it. And that's what the full moon today in Aquarius is all about, getting a full look at least of what you'd like your future to be. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, you know, you can really be wanting to zoom forward toward your future right now. You're probably going to be able to do that too, Aries, because the sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Leo are all trining your sun, and Jupiter is also trining your sun from Sagittarius, and Jupiter has gone direct, and it's Uranus that's now retrograde. There's still 4 retrograde planets, but with all 5 of these direct planets in fire signs trining your sun sign, Aries, it simply means that this is a wonderful time for you to get busy on your future, particularly because the full moon today in Aquarius is sextiling your sun. You could see an opportunity for a better future for yourself. It might involve higher education or travel. That's what Sagittarius rules. It might involve a child or a loved one, or sports, or the entertainment world. Those are the things that Leo rules. It might involve people who are desperate to hang on to their power, and they want to involve you in some sort of new beginning. In other words, use you for that purpose. I'd be a little hesitant on that, Aries. The idea is to follow your own dream, not somebody else's right now. But still, this is a wonderful time for you to think about making a new start in one way or another, particularly if it helps you in your future. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when you need to be very, very careful, because there are dark forces surrounding a bright light right now. And, you know, that is because there are a lot of people that want to hang on to their power or want to control others, because there's a lot of money at stake. And yours is a money sign. It's a fixed financial sign ruling investments. And so with Uranus now retrograde in your sign and being squared by the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Leo, and being squared by the full moon in Aquarius today, I would say that the lights are not with you, Taurus, at the moment, and you should be very careful with your money. In fact, don't spend a dime right now if you can help it, Taurus, because, you know, somebody else may want to make a power play on you. Those planets in Leo are all squaring your sun sign. There could even be somebody that's rather jealous or even overly passionate about you right now, Taurus, so your own safety could be at risk as well. And that's why this is a time, you know, to escape the darkness by following the light of a better future. And it's got to be your future, Taurus. And I wouldn't tell too many people about your vision or your dreams right now. Don't let anybody know that you are thinking of the future, simply because they could be a little jealous of that as well. And so this is just a good time for you to be as quiet as you can be. And that way you won't be making yourself a target. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this full moon today in Aquarius is going to do you a lot of good, Gemini. And that's because it's trining your sun sign. It's going to do Libra a lot of good too. And that is because it is bright, and because Aquarius rules the future, and it's a fixed sign. So it's a strong sign. And with that full moon trining your sun, Gemini, I think there is the possibility that there may be someone around who is rather unique, rather unusual. They could even be a little eccentric and very creative, but they may have some very good, helpful advice for you, Gemini, and you should listen to it. Somebody who's a little ahead of their time or a little unusual in one way or another is probably going to help you out right now, Gemini, and it's going to be exactly the information you're looking for. And so I think that that's why they are going to do you a lot of good. And the planets that are in the fixed signs are not hurting you. In other words, the Sun, Mercury, your own ruler, Venus, and Mars in Leo are actually sextiling your Sun. So those power players that want to desperately hang on to their own power are not after you, Gemini, and somebody is about to give you a real boost or a helping hand in some way. And you know, I think they've got an answer to something. It might be an unusual answer, but I think it's really going to help you, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when if I were you, I'd just be sort of quiet and stay home and catch up on little things that need doing that you've been putting off. And the reason why this could be a good time to do that is, one, the full moon today is in conjunct or 150 degrees away from your sun sign, so you may not be concentrating a lot on your future, but it's still going to come. Remember, the sun rises in a different place every day. So I think since there are 4 planets in Leo right ahead of your sun sign, Cancer, that you need to catch up on a whole bunch of little things that you've been putting off during the summertime and finish them up, because you need to get ready to be much busier than you've been planning on. Now, you might be getting extra busy because you have to deal with some of these powerful people in the future, in other words, by the end of the month or certainly right after Labor Day. And rather than compete with them in any way, you may be involved with them, but still you need to maintain your own independence, and you need to make sure everything at home is sort of in order, so that if you do get real busy or you do have to travel or you do have to take on extra responsibilities, you'll have time to do that. But that's because you should be playing catch up right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you can be severely challenged yourself, Leo, and the reason why is that there are these 5 planets in a T-cross in fixed signs, and 6 planets actually. There's 4 planets in your sign, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and they're all being opposed by the full moon in Aquarius today. So the sun and the moon are opposing each other, and that is always an indication of indecision or confusion. So you may not be too sure of something right now. You may be sort of wondering if something's going to work. This would be a terrible time to take a gamble. I can guarantee you a gamble won't work, but there could be high stakes, high money stakes involved in your life somewhere, Leo, because Uranus in Taurus is squaring the planets in your sign. And Mars is one malefic planet and Uranus is another. There really can be some sudden upset in your investments or in your finances in one way or another, Leo. And so there you can be facing severe challenges. And since the full moon is opposing the planets in your sign, it simply means that someone else, perhaps a woman, really wants to have a better future. And they are being challenged on all sides, but that hope is not going away, and they probably are going to be able to succeed eventually. Even if it involves a big burden, they could still do it. So this is a time when you need to sort of not be after a lot of power, Leo, but try to be more conciliatory, more willing to sort of share, or be a better partner right now. That would help you out, and that way you wouldn't be facing so much resistance. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, you can be very busy in the background of your life because there's 4 planets in Leo right behind your sun sign right now. And of course, they're all headed in your direction sooner or later. And so it simply means that in the background of your life, you probably know some power players, some people that want to be in control, and they want to put everyone else's future on hold because they're a little bit desperate to stay in control, which is being threatened right now. I don't really think they're going to make it, Virgo. So instead, try to disassociate yourself or separate yourself from people who are sort of on their high horse, and instead try to be much more businesslike and practical about everyday things like paying the bills or getting certain tasks done. The reason why you should be doing that, just as Cancer should be, is because there's going to be a new moon soon in your sign, which is going to electrify you, Virgo, and you're really going to be on to something new. So this is a time when you just need to be very practical about your investments and your long-term goals, and make sure you're real clear about those instead. So it's a good time to think about those. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you can benefit by the full moon in Aquarius today, and that is because it's trining your sun. And that simply means that the future is looking bright for you, Libra. In fact, you could say, well, what future? You may not know quite what direction to go in. You don't need to worry about that, Libra, because there's going to be someone else, perhaps a woman, since it's the full moon in Aquarius, that is going to be able to help you out. They may be able to inform you about something that you're very curious about. I think you're going to meet somebody sort of fascinating, Libra, that is going to have really good ideas to share with you. And so I think you need to get out and socialize and talk to people right now, because this is a wonderful time to sort of expand and enlarge your sphere of friends, because they'll help you into your future as well. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when you just can't afford to make a move in any direction, Scorpio. And the reason why is that today's full moon in Aquarius squares your sun sign, Uranus in Taurus opposes your sun sign, and the 4 planets in Leo also square your sun sign. If you're wanting to do anything that involves finances, it's probably not going to work to your advantage right now, Scorpio. And so this is really not a good time to take a gamble, but it's also not a good time to go overboard on anything right now, but particularly if it costs money. And it isn't even a good time to plan for anything like that, because you don't know how some sort of severe challenge is going to come out in the end. Nobody knows that quite at the moment. And so, you just need to hang on to everything right now, Scorpio, and be as quiet as you can. There are too many planets challenging your sun sign, so you wouldn't win an argument. So be real careful not to get in one. Just be quiet. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, oh boy, all the planets in the fire signs are direct. That can certainly make you want to really zoom forward, Sagittarius, and you can probably do that because the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Leo are all trining your sun, where you have Jupiter, and Jupiter is direct right now too, and together all 5 planets are trining the sign of Aries. You should start something new, and don't wait, Sagittarius, do it now. And the reason why is that the full moon in Aquarius sextiles your sun. The sun in Leo trines your sun. The lights are with you, Sagittarius. You probably could get just about anything you wanted right now, so be careful and don't go overboard. But you could also be very popular. So I think that this can be a time when you really should move toward your future. And there haven't been a lot of planets in the air signs lately, but there is a wonderful one today, the full moon in Aquarius, and it's congenial with your sign. So this is a time when you need to make up for a little lost time while Jupiter was retrograde in your sign. And now you really need to zoom forward, Sagittarius. And the reason why is Jupiter is going to leave your sign on December 3rd. So now you should be on a roll. You should really be getting moving forward rather quickly and try to accomplish your future goals as swiftly as you can, you're going to get a lot of help with that, so you ought to be able to make up for lost time. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when I think that the possibility of you creatively thinking about something new that you'd like to do in your future is probably on your mind right now. And the reason why is that the full moon in Aquarius is right ahead of your sun sign, Capricorn. So this is really a good time for you to only concentrate on your future. Don't get hung up with all the other people that are desperate to hang on to their power right now. You know, I think their day is past. That might be a waste of your time, Capricorn. Instead, really concentrate on something where you have some vision, or you have a dream, or you have a goal in the future. You might not know if it's going to work out, but at least it involves you going forward on your own terms. You should do that. And that's because there still is only one planet trining your sun, Uranus in Taurus, and now Uranus is retrograde. Well, Saturn and Pluto in your sign, and they're retrograde. You know, don't get caught in yesterday, Capricorn. This full moon in Aquarius is the bright light in the sky, and that could help lead you toward a better tomorrow. So I hope you think about that. Okay, what does it mean to Aquarius? Well, Aquarius, the full moon is in your sign today. And you know, there haven't been a lot of planets in air signs, but oh boy, that full moon is powerful. It's at 22 degrees today. And when we reduce numbers, 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's going from one even number to another even number. That's associated with success. But it also means you have to be on the square. You have to work hard. You can't skip steps. That would be okay with you, Aquarius. Yours is a fixed sign. So I'll bet you've got some really good new idea in the back of your mind, and this would be the time to start developing it. This would be the time to get serious about that. The reason why is Saturn's coming into your sign next year, and you are going to do something serious next year. So let it be toward the future, and don't hang on to the past right now, Aquarius. It's a little murky. You know, there's dark, severe challenges around you. Just turn your back on all that and go into tomorrow instead. That's where you're most comfortable anyway. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you can sort of reflect on things. The reason why is that your own ruler is in your sign. That's wonderful. It hasn't been there in years. And it can make you sort of divinely creative, but it's retrograde right now. And when planets go retrograde, it's always better to go back and sort of double check what's already happened or what you've already done and make sure you haven't skipped any steps. Well, you do need to do that. But in the background of your life, I think that you're thinking of the future, maybe planning it. Maybe it's somebody else's future that you're thinking of, but it could be the bright spot in your life right now, Pisces, because the full moon in Aquarius today is right behind your sun sign. And yes, Neptune is retrograde in your sign. And yes, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus ahead of that. And Saturn and Pluto are retrograde in Capricorn right behind that full moon. In other words, there's a lot of people, some of whom you may know, Pisces, who are sort of tired, scheming doubters. In other words, they can't really see the future. But I think in the background of your life, you're really starting to think about that a lot. And it's sort of a new future. And it might have a lot of severe challenges in it, but doesn't hurt to think about it anyway, Pisces. Besides, it might be somebody else's future that you're thinking about instead. And I think that you would want to do your best. Maybe they're a very bright person or an unusually creative person. Well, I would be thinking about how to help them out too. So Pisces, this is a time of reflection for you, but it's also a time to concentrate on the future, at least very quietly behind the scenes, because that could work out well for you, particularly next spring when Saturn goes into Aquarius. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show, read our blog, and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.